The recent surge in gold prices raised queries regarding with the permissibility of investing in gold, Sharia compliant, also as well as in gold ETFs. These concerns highlight the growing need for the clarity on ethical and Sharia-aligned investment practices. So this session explores the principles and practical applications of Sharia compliant investing within India's capital markets. It's my great honor and privilege to extend a very warm welcome to Mr. Saif Ahmed. He's a founder and managing partner of Zamzam Capital, which is a SEBI registered firm specializing in Sharia compliant investment research and products. He brings with him over 2 decades of extensive professional experience spanning Wall Street investment, Islamic banking with leading global institutions, risk management, and product development in Islamic finance. We are truly privileged to have such eminent scholar with us today. On behalf of everyone present, once again I extend a warm welcome, Mr. Saif Ahmed. We look forward to gain valuable insights from your expertise and experience. Sir, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you. Even this is working, no? Yeah. So first thing is, how was the lunch? Everybody's had a good lunch, I hope. Alhamdulillah. So normally these sessions are difficult to stay awake, right? So I promise to keep this short and entertaining. Hopefully you'll find it the topic interesting. Ji, sir? Sure. Definitely. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So, distinguished guests, and first and foremost, all the esteemed ulama and scholars of this great institution, and the chief guests, 𝐒𝐫𝐲𝐿 Sahab, Dr. Sharee'A Nisar Sahab, and Brother Sahilu, who graciously invited me for this conference. I take it as a great privilege to be amongst you. My name is Saif Ahmed, and as the brother introduced, I don't think I need to introduce further, but there is a slide, inshallah, that talks about my background. So the topic of our talk is going to be related to investments, Sharia-compliant investments and wealth management. What options are available in the Indian market? So since we are a SEBI registered entity, we have to give a standard disclaimer. It's part of the rules. None of what is going to be given here is, no advice is being given in this presentation. Okay. We have a certificate from the SEBI, which is a research analyst, my firm, Zamzam Capital. This is our website. And as 𝐒𝐫𝐲𝐿 Sahab said a little bit about myself, I have started Zamzam Capital 3 years ago. And prior to that, I used to run a firm called 𝐈𝐧𝐝 Chit Funds Private Limited, which was a Sharia-compliant chit fund company, registered chit fund company in Banglore. So that ran for around 10 years. And before that, I worked in Islamic banks in Kuwait. I've also been associated with other firms in Islamic finance in India, like Regd Finance. And alhamdulillah, I started my career on Wall Street with Merrill Lynch in New York. That's about myself. So since all of you are religious, most of you are from this institution and studying FIQH and Sharia, this slide is something that you all understand, that Islam is just not ibadat, it's all the different aspects. A 24-hour life is Islam. We have muamalat, akhlaq, ibadah, aqidah. These are all different branches of the Islam. And Sharia, which is the law, Sharia is Islamic law, it governs all of this. So specifically when we talk of muamalat, we also have economic activities, right? And this is where this whole conference, talking about Islamic finance, Islamic investment, we are bothered about this banking activities, other economic activities. So moving ahead, what is the Sharia? What are the sources of the Sharia? And why this is important is because in the stock market, it is a new field. It wasn't there in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, right? There was no stock market. So stock market came about in the last 30, 40, 50 years. Before that, the stock market actually is 100 years old. In the USA, it was there in the early part of the 20th century and even before that. But in the Muslim world, we came across stock market in the 60s and 70s, and that's when the Sharia scholars started understanding what is the stock market. Can Muslims invest in it? Which are the major sources of Sharia. The Quran and the Hadith are the major sources, as you all know. But we also have other sources like ijma, consensus, qiyas, and you as students of Sharia, all these things you learn in depth. You know much more than what I know. And you have minor sources like istihsan, istisla, ijtihad, you know. So all these tools are used to debate new issues like the stock market. So in the stock market also, the scholars, and these are scholars from around the world, they sat and deliberated and they came up with certain rules. Inshallah, we will talk about that as we go along. What are the Sharia screening criteria and rules? So, what is Islamic finance? The topic of this presentation is on investments, but I just want to give one slide on finance also, and it has been spoken about by the previous speakers, but basically, Islamic finance is all those financial activities that do not contradict with Islamic principles. As brother Dr. Sharik Saab said, anything that is in ibadah, what is not permitted, I mean, basically in muamalat, everything that is not disallowed is permitted, basically, right? So that is exactly what is, anything that does not contradict with Islamic principles is permitted in Islam. So we have certain key, principles that are followed. Like prohibited is interest, which is riba, speculation, gharar, gambling, maisir. You know all these terms, we have spoken about it. So these and the Sharia sources used over here are used to come up with the products, the various Islamic finance contracts, like murabaha, ijara, istisna, either using sale-based or leasing or equity-based modes. Because as you know, in the Sharia, if you give a loan, it has to be on interest-free basis, which is qarz-e hasan. But if you use sale-based or ijara, which is leasing, or equity with like musharaka, you can actually do a business through it. You can charge profit, you can charge different types of structures are there. So all these contracts came through using the sources of the Sharia, and these contracts were created. And the Islamic bank works by like this. It does not lend you money and take back money like a regular bank, but it sells you some goods and services or leases some goods and takes back the profit, which is permitted. So I have a video on this topic. I have a YouTube channel. You can look into it, Zamzam Capital, that goes over all these Islamic finance contracts. So now coming to investments. Now this is a video that is also there on savings. And why savings? This is the savings, if you remember, I spoke about in my introduction that I ran a firm called 𝐈𝐬𝐥𝐚𝐬 Chit Funds Private Limited, which was into chit funds. So it was a very good experience for me to understand how the saving habits work. And I realized, I was a student of economics, we learned that in economics, that savings is very important, because if you save, you will be able to consume, you will be able to invest, right? So what is left behind from your income which you don't consume is savings, and from your savings you are going to invest. So it is very important to inculcate the habit of savings, because if you are safe, then you can invest. Now coming to the topic which is investments. What is Islamic investment? You keep hearing Sharia compliant investment, halal investment, etc., etc. Do you know what are the two important rules for halal investment? There is only two main rules. Of course, the first thing is that whatever you invest should be, the business should be halal. That goes without saying. We know that. We cannot invest in a haram business. We cannot invest in an alcohol business. Other things which are haram, we all know. That is understood. But once you invest, what are the two conditions you have to follow? The first condition we know probably that we cannot demand a fixed rate of return. If you demand a fixed rate of return, that is riba. If I say you invest 1 lakh in my business, I'll give you 10% per year or 10% per month, whatever, that is riba. I'm fixing the return. So that we know is not, returns cannot be guaranteed. Secondly, the principal amount also cannot be guaranteed. If we say, khalas, I will give you a share of the profit, which is fine. But when you want to exit, whatever you invested, I am going to give you back. That also is not permitted. So we have to keep this in mind as we understand. So there is a structure in, it's a form of Islamic finance where you remember the equity-based, it's called mudaraba. This is a key thing that is used in investments, because a mudaraba is basically a form where investors come and invest in a business using a mudaraba contract, where the investor is the Rabbul Mal and the entrepreneur who takes the money is the mudarib, and they form a partnership. Money is coming from the investor, Rabbul Mal, and the entrepreneur is going to run the business without any interference from the investor. This is a beautiful structure. This is actually what is the foundation of venture capital or private equity. They use the same structure. It's come from the Sharia. And they have a profit sharing agreement between them. Okay? So Ponzi schemes that came and destroyed the community, especially in places like Banglore, Hyderabad, Mumbai. These Ponzi schemes did not follow these two principles. Either they were giving a fixed return, then they became very clever. They guaranteed the principal also. So people said, doesn't matter, we'll get a fluctuating return of profit, but at least our return is fixed. Both are not halal. If our community knew these things, they would not fall trap to these Ponzi schemes. Now, it is always when you look to do an investment plan, you have investment advisors. You must have heard of wealth management, which is also a topic. We go to a wealth advisor or investment advisor, they will make a financial plan for you on a personal level. This is your plan, this is your assets. So in your assets, which is like a pie chart, they will divide it into cash, debt, fixed deposits, shares, real estate. Okay, bullion means gold, silver, okay, jewelry. So this is how each one of you has one. Even if you are just starting your career, you will have your assets. Your assets will be divided into a pie chart. It might be just 100% cash in the beginning. Just in your bank you have some money. But then you have to diversify. Now when it comes to Muslim investors, Sharia compliant investors, we have a problem in India. We have very limited options to invest in. Basically, we have only cash. Of course, we have to keep some money in the bank to meet our day-to-day expenses. We have stock market, we have real estate, and we have gold. We do not have fixed return type of investments, or there are very few in the market, basically negligible. We only have these categories. And the problem is, majority of our money is put in real estate. I'm sure in Kerala also the situation is the same. Majority of the Muslim money is put in real estate, which in itself is nothing like real estate is a bad asset. No, it's a very good asset. It's a very important asset. But putting 100% or 90% and maybe 10, 20% in gold and nothing else, you're facing a major risk, because real estate is also cyclical. It can go up, it can go down, and when it goes down, you can't exit very easily. It's an illiquid asset class. So one should be, this is a danger, and that's why we want to promote more and more our community should invest in the stock market. At least it is negligible, the amount of money that is in the stock market. First of all, the number of percentage of Muslims in the stock market is not even 5%. And amongst those, most of them are just putting a small amount, maybe 5% of their net worth in stock market. No, it should be at least 30, 40, if not more, depending on your risk profile and your age, etc. But this is what we want to message to get across. So what options are available today for Muslim investors in India? When you talk about Sharia compliant investments, where can they put their money? So I want to give you an idea from the stock market point of view. Obviously for real estate, you know where to put the money. So we look at this chart. So starting with real estate, you have, you can invest in land, apartments, homes. Let's exclude your own house, but other than that is your investment. So you get rental income, or if you sell the property, you get capital gains. It's a tangible asset. So as I said, it's a very important asset class, but almost 100% we are putting the money in this. Then gold and silver, nowadays very popular. The way both have gone up is amazing. But definitely one should invest in these precious metals. And their main value of gold is the store of value. It's a store of value. Through the centuries, what 1 gram of gold has bought or 10 grams of gold has bought is the same. It maintains its value. Okay, that's the beauty of gold. Inflation, the paper money we have, it's losing its value because it's worthless actually. It's a piece of paper. It is not backed by anything. The fiat money system, it is actually not a Sharia compliant thing, but we are forced to use it because it's the government of the day. But the real money in Islam is gold. Gold, silver. So this is also an important asset class. And in Sharia compliant stocks, because we talk about stocks, we're going to talk only about halal Sharia compliant stocks, and I'll mention what it involves. So when you buy stocks, you will also get capital gains when you sell the stocks. You will make dividend income, okay, and it's highly liquid. The beauty of stocks is you can exit just like that. It's very easy to enter, very easy to exit. Okay. So when we will talk about what exactly is available in the Indian market in terms of stock market, but before that, let us understand the Sharia screening criteria for stock market. What are the things we look at? The first thing we look at when we want to shortlist the stocks for investment, in India, over 5,000 stocks are listed in the exchange, National Stock Exchange, Bombay Stock Exchange. These are the two major stock exchanges. Over 5,000 stocks. Exact number I don't know, but the number keeps growing. Every day there are some IPOs. Okay, a lot of these small companies also are listed. So the number is growing and growing. But let's assume 5,000. But out of these, how many are Sharia compliant? The first thing you would do is you would screen them for the business sector. All the businesses that are not halal, from the non-halal industries, we will remove. And you know, everybody knows these, like on the left, insurance, banking and finance, because these are not halal businesses. They deal in riba, alcohol, any meat that is not zabiha, okay, gambling, entertainment, etc. Even defense sector. Now defense sector is a very interesting exclusion. Technically defense is not Sharia non-compliant. It is a Sharia compliant sector. There is nothing haram about defense because you're making weapons. It was in the Prophet ﷺ's time, people used to buy and sell weapons. But the reason most Sharia scholars today, not all, but most, say defense should also be excluded is for ethical reasons. Because today's weapons are not used in a proper manner. They are used when they are used, even innocent women and children are killed, okay, in the war. So it is unethical to buy these companies. So we also exclude these from our Sharia screening. Once you do that, then you have various types of financial ratios. Now I take you back to the sources of Sharia, where there was a major sources and minor sources. Now how did these Sharia screening come? Just to give you a short 2-minute thing on this. See, technically, if you are to invest in a company, it should be completely halal. The business should be halal. Then there should be no debt in the company that is not halal. There should be no interest debt. There should be no interest income, no impure income, technically, right? Because you want everything to be halal. But practically, if you see in the stock market, you will hardly find any company, maybe one or two or three, not many companies that will be completely halal. Maybe they are run by a Muslim promoter. But even then, many are not Sharia compliant. So what do you have to do? The Sharia scholars, when they studied the stock market, they realized this, that you're not going to find hardly any pure halal companies. So they use the different sources of Sharia, ijma, they use qiyas, they use ijtihad, and they came up and they realized that actually as a stock market investor, you are a minority investor. The retail public, they were investing as minority. So we have to make sure first that the business is halal. But the actual running of the business is not in our hands. We are not the management. We are not going to be influencing the management. And we cannot also, because we have a very small shareholding, they will not listen to us. So they allowed this minimum criteria. In their wisdom, they allowed that if Muslims want to invest, they can use this criteria. Now, what criteria? There was difference of opinion. Some said it should be 1/3, some said 25%, some said 40%. How much is minimum? So usually the most popular numbers are like 1/3. 1/3 of the company's the assets, the debt should not be more than 1/3 of the company's assets. That's called leverage ratio. That's a popular thing. Sometimes some Sharia boards use total assets, some Sharia board use market cap in the denominator. Then on the income statement, they look at impure income. That should not be more than 5%. Usually 5%, some people use 2.5 or 3% of total sales, right? So these various ratios are there, but usually around 3, 4, 5 ratios are present, and different Sharia screening boards use different ratios. There is no one size fits all. So that is what I'm just trying to tell you here by giving you this. These are some famous criteria, Dow Jones criteria. AOFI is the Accounting and Auditing Organization of Islamic Financial Institutions in Bahrain. They actually set all the standards for Islamic financial institutions. All the products, all the Islamic finance contracts, the structures, the laws are determined by AOFI. But in the stock market, they are only one of the criteria, because this is a subjective matter. So different criteria are there, not only AOFI but other criteria. Like Malaysia there's a BSc Sharia criteria which Dr. Sharik Saab here was very instrumental in creating. So we have a Sharia index in India also. Sharia indices, not just one but many. So this is when we say that Islamic banking or is not allowed in India, Islamic finance, there are so many roadblocks. That's true because of the legislation. The government does not want to create any legislation specifically, and also the earlier talk on insurance. We have so many roadblocks to do takaful in India. But when you look into the stock market, which is a major asset class in investments, the door is open for us. There is nothing to prevent us from creating products, halal products. We have in the National Stock Exchange and Bombay Stock Exchange, Sharia indices are there. They themselves call it Sharia Index. So you can imagine, and we will see there are mutual funds, there are other products that are Sharia compliant. The government has no issue if Muslims want to say this fund is halal. If it follows our screening criteria, no problem, because there are so many different screening criteria that are non-Sharia also. They have ethical funds, they have defense sector funds, they have different sector funds. So each fund has some screening. So if you want to have these rules to screen, the government has no problem with that. So we have an open door to really promote halal investments. And investments, if you think about it, is the key for us. If we are able to grow our money, our community becomes stronger. And stock market, believe me, is one of the major sources of wealth generation in the country. And we should not miss this bus. So briefly, I want to talk about the criteria that my firm uses. It is developed by a very famous scholar in Islam known as Mufti Taqi Usmani Saab. So I think in the Q&A we will talk about the actual questions that come. But we use these following criteria. We use debt to total assets. We use illiquid asset ratio. we use non-Sharia investment ratio, we use a non-Sharia income ratio, etc. And I also want to, this is our Sharia board. Every firm should have a Sharia board. So we have a Sharia board made of 3 scholars. And our criteria is also available on the website. What I told you, you can go through it on our website. And I will also show you some of the other criteria. This is the criteria of Tasis from a website called Islamic Tijarat. They use total interest-based debt should not be more than 25%. They have an interest income ratio and they have a receivables and cash flow. So just to give you an idea, this one is from Musaffa. It's an app, Musaffa. They're using the following ratios. Okay, you can go to the website and see their ratios. You can study, one should study. For instance, you see, they are using the market cap in the denominator. We are using total assets. Now why? The difference of opinion. Each one will justify it. But if you ask me, I prefer using total assets. Why? Because it is a balance sheet item. Debt is a balance sheet item. So you are comparing apple with apple, not apples with oranges. But difference of opinion, it's permitted. You have to decide what ratio you like. Whose criteria you prefer, you follow that. This is another company called Zoya. This is Islamically, they have one ratio. Debt, they use only one ratio. Of course, the first criteria is the business sector. Everybody removes the businesses that are not Sharia compliant. We prepare a halal stocks list and we put it up on our website. Every 6 months we update it, alhamdulillah, and it is free. One can benefit from it, and we have a screening application also on our website. So if you see the latest, when the screening was done, we had around 1,727 companies that were screened, of which 908 were Sharia compliant. And we only screened companies that were listed in the NSE, National Stock Exchange, and above 500 crore market cap. We didn't want to screen the whole universe because the companies that are small, they are very risky to invest. Okay? Okay, so you should also purify the dividends. Whatever dividends you get, you should purify it. That's a factor because the scholars have permitted you to go up to 5% impure income, but that doesn't mean you can keep that income. The dividends you get are being paid from the income of the company. So the percentage that is non-compliant, you should give it in charity. Easy way, a practical solution is, if you cannot calculate it, just give 5%. Because if you're using a 5% ratio, just give 5% away in charity. It's not going to, the dividends are going to be a small amount anyways. Most of the stocks you are investing not for dividends, but for capital gains. There are some stocks that pay a high dividend, then you want to really calculate it. Okay, this is a private equity. In private equity also, the same thing applies, but with a difference. Because there you are usually going to be a major shareholder. When you are a major shareholder and are going to have a seat in the board of the company, then these rules will not apply. These rules are only for minority shareholders. Like in the stock market, we are all minority shareholders. So I recommend everybody to read this book, Introduction to Islamic Finance by Mufti Taqi Usmani Saab. It's available, but since most of you are students already, I'm sure, of Islamic finance, most of you would have read this book. I would recommend you to visit our YouTube channel. We put out videos there. We have a Telegram group. You could join it. Now, what products are available in the market for stock market today? You have, can you see the slide? You have 3 types of products available. As per our research, you have 3 types of products. One is mutual fund. Mutual funds, you all know, mutual funds are huge organizations. They are known as domestic institutional investors, DIIs. They invest in, government has given them a category, SEBI has given them a separate category where they can get a license, and then they float different funds, and you can invest in that fund and you become a unit holder, and these funds buy a pool of stocks. Usually mutual funds hold a large number of stocks, 50 to 100 stocks. And mutual funds, there are over 2,500 mutual funds in India. Not all are equity, some are into debt, some are into multi-asset. But when you talk about equity mutual funds, there are only three that are halal. These three. Tata Ethical Fund, which is the oldest one, Taurus Ethical Fund and Quantum Ethical Fund. So their performance, everything can be seen, various websites track them, you can check their performance. PMS is Portfolio Management Scheme. You need minimum 50 lakhs worth of capital to invest. So it's mainly for HNI investors, high net worth investors. So not for everybody, but it is also very important. And there are two PMSs that are Sharia compliant. They have a Sharia compliant certification. One is called Green Ethical Fund and the other is Philip Ethical India Portfolio. Okay. Then the third category is fairly new. It has come out in the last 10 years. It's called small case. It's like a fintech platform where you have portfolios that can be created through small case and that is directly purchased in your broker account through one click. It's a very nice technology. They have partnered with most of the top brokers. So if you buy the small case, you can get the portfolio and it will be rebalanced every month or so. We can talk about the small case. Inshallah, there are some slides on it. So there are 5 in the market. And alhamdulillah, Zamzam Capital has made 4 of those. And Green Portfolio has 1 small case. So the names are listed in the slide. Okay. So this is the actual stock market products you have. Other than this, of course, you can invest directly in shares. If you know how to buy shares. It's coming. Hello. Yeah. If you know how to research and purchase shares, you're most welcome to buy shares, whether using fundamental analysis or technical analysis. You could use that and buy shares on your own. But if you don't know how to do the research, you have to buy products because somebody has to create products. Yeah. So, moving ahead. We have actually 2 products. One is the small cases which you saw. The other is the stock plan. So this is also like, if you want to buy direct shares, they are what is called research analyst. So we are a research analyst. There are around 1,500 research analysts in India. Their job is to, basically they'll give you that stock research. They will tell you which stocks to buy. They even advise on futures and options, but that is not halal. So when we talk about stocks, many are there who tell you which stocks to buy. We also have that product, where we'll tell you, we'll give you a plan. We'll send you 3 to 5 recommendations a month with the stock name, the stop loss, the target. Okay. So this is a standard product, a research product. This also helps people who cannot do the research on their own. Okay. So we have that. We have these plans. You can see it on our website. And you get access to a dashboard, you get access to an app, etc. This is our own app that is there for this trading product. And then we have small cases. So in the small cases, this is the website. These are the brokers that are covered in small case. Okay? It's a very excellent platform. And it's very easy to... They have their own app, so you can manage your small case through the small case app. So even our small cases show up in the app. And once you buy, you can buy the stocks in 1 click, and you can track them. You can do SIPs also in small case, like you can do in mutual funds. Okay. So this is our small case website, and we have these portfolios. That's it. So I don't know how I'm doing for time. Do we have some time for Q&A? We have? Sure. Yes. Alhamdulillah. So I told you I'll keep it short, and I hope it was sweet. It was interesting. So any questions, please? Either side. Huh? No, I'm...
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam. Yes, sir.
I don't know if I had it wrong or not, but you said invest in gold, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if the value that gold has right now is its intrinsic value?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to, like, people are investing more and the price is hiking, and it's speculating like 2,000 rupees hike, that
Yeah.
next day it's falling down.
Yeah,
Like
you remember
intrinsic-
I know your question, whether it makes sense to invest now or is it intrinsic value?
Yeah.
It
Yes.
very much is, very much is. I mean,
Then how could it fall and rise and fall at the same time?
because it's an asset. It's an asset, it's traded in the 24 hours, it's a price is there for gold. All the markets traded, US, UK, China, Hong Kong, there are various markets for gold. And it's the world's most valuable asset, you know. The top asset is gold, number one. Number two, I think is NVIDIA. Yeah. And number three, one of these US companies, and then silver is fifth or something. I was seeing a chart. So it's an asset that has been there for centuries. It's mentioned in the Quran, mentioned in the Hadith. So
No, I'm in doubt of the current value of gold.
current value of gold, technically, if you read the experts, it should be much more than what it is. You see, if you look at the inflation, see, gold is priced in US dollars.
Yeah.
The US dollar 50 years ago has lost maybe, exactly I don't know, but more than 90% of its value from 30-40 years also. More than 95% it has fallen in value. That inflation is so much. So if you just compare gold's price at that time to now, it is not even inflation adjusted. If gold is allowed to go up to that value, it will be much more. And that's what they are trying to do now with the gold and silver. They are trying to reach. See, silver in 1980 it was $50. Now it just crossed $50. In 35 years, 45 years, the value is the same. Can you believe? When so much inflation has happened. So now they are trying to discover their true value. I'm not an expert, I can't give you any investment advice, but definitely I think the precious metals are expected to do very well in going for next few years.
Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I have 3 doubts actually.
Yeah, good.
The first one is, you said investing in defense sector is actually considered haram due to the ethical perspective, and I just wanted to ask you about boycotted companies that is available on NSE and BSE, especially in the scenario of Israel-Palestine issues. Can a Muslim invest in boycotted companies?
What company you are saying?
Israel companies, boycott.
Boycott. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, okay. Then that's the second question.
No, this is the first question.
Okay, you ask okay, I'll answer this question. See, when it comes to political matters, that is best left to your personal issue. As we are doing Sharia screening, we are preparing halal list. If we get into political matters, it can be an issue for us. We are providing a service purely on Sharia norms. But if you feel we don't want to buy any company that is related to a particular country, see, you can even go to, it's your wish. You have to make that decision and exclude. But we cannot do it from a Sharia screening point of view. Because, technically, if you have mentioned this boycotting, who's behind everything? You're going to boycott all the companies then, the entire Western. So it gets too deep. It's left to your personal choice, what you want to do.
The second question is, you said your company haven't screened small cap companies which is under 500 CR something, and may I know the reason? Because high risk was high returns actually, and being a Muslim aggressive investor, it's like losing a chance to earn high returns.
Good question. Yeah. See, technically, we could have screened it. There's no harm in screening. Data is available. But number one, we are providing it for free. Number two, we felt that our management, 500 crores is a decent number. Because right now in India, 500 crores is nothing actually. If you see the market cap, small companies have more than 1,000 crores. And if you really look at the data, investing in companies less than 500 crores is highly risky. Some of them become multi-bagger, but very few. Very few. And if you could spot, so that's why we didn't screen it, but that doesn't mean you can't invest. There's some other people who screen everything from the beginning. So if you want to invest in that, number one, personally as a research analyst, we say don't invest. We'll never give recommendation in companies less than 1,000 crores in our stock plan. Less than 1,000 we don't give. And even the small case we don't take. But we screen above 500 crores. But if some, so that's why we don't give it. We personally believe it's not too risky to invest. But if you want to invest, it's possible, why not? But you have to find it from somebody else. We don't screen.
Okay, the final question is, you have mentioned 3 mutual funds, Tata, Taurus and Quantum. And is the investing in the fund completely ethical, means no haram income, zero haram income? Or if there is any haram income like 1, 2 or maybe 5%, how to purge it? Or is there any existing?
So they are certified by certain Sharia boards, okay, like TASIS, Sharia Cap, they are the ones certifying these 3 mutual funds. So definitely they are Sharia compliant because they have Sharia certificate. Now whether I personally follow that screening criteria, no. In Zamzam Capital we have a different screening criteria. But doesn't mean they are not, they are have their own Sharia. So you as a investor, you have to pick and choose what you are comfortable with. And purging, I mentioned, no, dividends, you have to purge your dividends. So they will also tell you how much is the purging ratio. The mutual funds, they are, because the what shares are there, they know. You are only getting units, so they will tell you how much to purge. That is one of the Sharia compliant features they will tell you if you have that.
Shukran, Jazakallah.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I have 2 doubts. First about ETF. As a Muslim, can we buy gold ETF or silver ETF?
Second question?
Second, you have said that if there is a fixed return, whether it's percentage or amount, it is haram. I think if we fix the percentage, it is not haram. While we doing in musharaka or mudaraba, we should fix the return in percentage.
Yeah, okay. So the ETF question, as per our research in India, as per our research, none of the ETFs, gold and silver, are Sharia compliant. Even in stock ETFs, there is one ETF called Sharia-Based. It's using the word Sharia, but it is, they themselves say we are not certified by any Sharia compliant thing, so you cannot call them Sharia compliant. The reason the gold and silver ETFs are not Sharia compliant, one major reason is that even if they are purchasing the gold in your name and keeping it, when you ask for delivery, they must deliver that same gold from that same bar to you, which is not happening. That's the reason. Now you're right. So that was talking in terms of investment when you're investing cash. When I'm investing in a business as a partner, or I'm giving a loan, then if you fix a return, it is riba, right? But if you are doing muraba, yes, it's a sale-based finance. There the profit is fixed. So the markup is fixed, musawama, mudaraba, one is known, one is not known. So that is clear. I was talking about it from an investment in terms of like you are giving a loan or you're investing as a partner. There you cannot fix the percentage of the investment, but you can fix the percentage of the profit sharing, which you have to. Out of 100%, you will get 50, I'll get 50, or you get 40, I get 60. That you have to do, but not the percentage on the investment.
I think IOFI have approved, or TASIS have approved that silver Nippon as Sharia-based ETF.
The Sharia-Based, it's called Sharia-Based, no? That one, Nippon ETF. I read their document and we put it in our Telegram group. They themselves have mentioned it is not Sharia compliant. In the document they have, I can share it.
Okay, thank you so much.
What about any question from the sisters? I think they should also.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
Alaikum salam.
I have doubt that on what basis we can consider a 33% lower interest base that it is halal and it is Sharia compliant, and what evidence do we have?
What percentage you like to consider? 40%, 20%, what is enough?
0%.
Zero. High taqwa, taqwa is very high. No, but it is not got to do with the scholars have permitted it. Top scholars, great scholars, they have said we need to give some concession. Okay.
But there should be a dalil, there should be an evidence on that.
There is a lot of dalil from the there is hadith where 1/3 is not considered more and all that. But what dalil they have used, it is there in their writings. We just take it. But I gave the reason in my talk that we are minority shareholder. We are not going to, if you buy the share, can you change the policy of the company? You can't. That is why one of the conditions is in the annual general meeting, and nowadays it is easy, you can send an email also to the investor relations and give your protest and say, I am a shareholder of this company. I do not like the fact that you are taking interest bearing debt and I want you to retire all the debt. As a shareholder, they will reply to you. They will say, yes, noted, but they will not act on it. That's the reason.
But in case of normal people, is it a larura that we should make investment on stock market? We have other options that are clean from interest based.
What option you have? You have real estate and you have gold.
Yeah, that's okay. That it is more better than investing in that business.
That's presently what all Muslims are doing. They're putting everything in real estate. But the real estate market crashes. It has crashed in the past. If it stops growing, then you are stuck. And it's, see, the stock market also very important. You are going to play a role in the growth of India. Indian economy is poised to be the fastest growing economy. It is the largest growing economy in the world. And it is growing much faster than the other big countries. And now I just read a news article yesterday, I think. It is now the 4th largest economy by GDP, overtaking Japan. In another 2-3 years, it will overtake Germany. So it will be the 3rd largest by 2030, inshallah. So we should be proud, being Indian citizens, we should be proud. And to play a part in the Indian economy. See, companies like Bharati Airtel, Asian Paints, Pidilite Industries, MRF tires, you name it, no, all you see everywhere around you, these products, you are become a part owner in that. And when the economy grows, the share price will grow much more. And as Muslims, if we are not, and we are giving the Sharia compliant option, this is all certified by top scholars in India also, Darul Uloom Deoband and all the major madrasas, Nadratul Ulama, etc. They have all certified. It's not like they are saying, they are also have thought about this. And I gave the name of Mufti Taqi Usmani Sahab. He is a great scholar. All over the world he is respected. He is also allowed this. Scholars in the Arab countries, non-Arab countries, it is accepted. Because of the sources of Sharia, they have used ijtihad. This is a new topic. So if they do not allow, then Muslims will not be allowed to invest in stock market. We will lose out, and then we will fall to Ponzi schemes. And even now the Bitcoin will come. What is the view on Bitcoin? If you ask, I hold the view of the majority of the scholars. It is not permitted, but some people say it's permitted. So it's like this is also your wish. If you feel no, it is too risky, I don't want to do it, don't invest. But do understand that all the top. Few years back, 20-30 years back, there were some scholars who disputed this stock market. But now 99% of the scholars are accepting this under this screening criteria.
Okay, Jazakallah khair.
Yeah. So we can go on, or should we next? One more? Yes.
Actually, we have to give zakat on every investments. Like if we have stocks, we have to give zakat on that. And if we have cash, we also have to give zakat. Then what about USDT and USD or Tether stable coins?
Tether coins. You're asking a non-crypto guy on crypto assets. So basically the ruling is that...
I mean that I'm not investing and playing with cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, but these are USD, yeah, these are stable coins, no?
Yeah.
They are permitted because they are backed by currency.
We can't invest that much in the US dollars. So we are taking the risk and investing in US tethers.
Tether and all, yeah.
So
You pay it on the market value, on the zakat date. The date of the zakat, each one will have a date of calculation. Every year you have to fix your date when you became a sahib-e-nisab, you know. So one luna, supposing you fix the 1st of Ramzan is your zakat calculation date. Every year it will change, no? It's based on the Hijri calendar. So that day, what is the value of that tether? You calculate in rupees the value and you multiply by the amount you hold. That will go into your zakat calculation along with your other assets. Then you take 2.5% of that.
even it's not cash.
Yeah, of course. It is a wealth. It is an asset. You like even the stocks also. You have to take as per the market value. Some scholars say you can take only the fixed value if you are buying it for long term, but that's not the majority view is you take the market value of the stock.
So it's considered as stock.
It is considered as a wealth. Yeah, you have to add it to your zakat. Any question?
One more question.
Assalamu alaikum, Saif bhai. I think you have already mentioned about the cryptocurrency, whether we can invest or trade in that.
Yeah.
What's your take on just investing in it, like as purchasing another currency? That's my first question. Second one, can we buy digital gold or invest in sovereign bond?
Right.
Whether or not we are having the physical gold.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See, crypto is a controversial topic these days. I hold the majority view of the scholars, which is it's not permitted. But there are certain very famous scholars globally who are saying it is permitted. So you can follow whichever scholar you like. So I will not get into that part of it. I mean, me as a financial student, as a student of economics, using that knowledge, I find it not to be a very... I am surprised how that has value, because it is not backed by anything. There is no tangible value. Yes, people say it's the processing power of the computers and there's only limited Bitcoin supply, etc., etc. So, I mean, for me it did not click. So I'm happy to just ignore it. I'm not a fan of crypto. Regarding, like I answered on the ETF, the same issue comes up with digital gold. And even SEBI has put out a paper or a notice a few months ago warning investors not to buy digital gold plans like Safe Gold, Digi Gold, etc. because they are not safe, they are not insured, they are not... the SEBI said they are very risky, and definitely also from Sharia point of view, the same issues with the ETF will come with them. And sovereign gold bonds, these are not halal. It's an interest based. It's not halal. Hopefully, that's it. Thank you. Jazakallah khair. Thank you for the opportunity. If anybody wants to contact me, they can do so through my email, and happy to respond to your questions.